This is the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast with your host, Kevin Murray.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast. On this episode, we have an outstanding guest that's doing a ton of great work in the fantasy sports community. It's the one and only Hoov. I'm thrilled to have you on here, buddy.
Oh, man, I'm completely thrilled to be here. It's such an honor. We got such a great group of questions coming up. And one of the things I was just like thinking, I'm like, how long have you been in the industry? Like, I'm such a baby. And the fact that you're inviting me on this show, I am so completely honored. So thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, hey, no one brings your unique style and energy to the fantasy space. That is guaranteed. There's only one Hoov, that's for sure. For the listeners and viewers that are unfamiliar with your work, can you give us a little update as to what you're doing with Club Fantasy and with Optimus Fantasy?
All right. So I recently joined the Club Fantasy team, and I'm doing some writing over there. I'm also doing co-hosting their Thursday show, a new show called Trade Block, where we break down dynasty trades where fans can submit their own trades and we can break them down. Otherwise, once a week, we're just kind of trying to find the value for one player that we feel like people aren't really getting a good eye on, and they can go out and make that trade or find a way to get rid of that player as well. So that's just been an awesome last 2 weeks, getting that thing kicked off with Dustin and Joel. And some of my favorite highlights are going to be coming from that show. I can already tell. Just me and Joel are going to go head to head once or twice, let's just say. And then with Optimus. So Optimus just has launched in the last month or so. And Nate and Jen and the whole team that they're putting together is just a phenomenal crew. So when they brought that up to me to come join them, how could I say no to that, especially with Nate and Jen being such great friends of mine? Like, anything that they do, I am completely a supporter of. I will jump on, and just because I love the people behind it. So, and then just knowing who they all brought on too, I'm like, this is incredible. This is a great group, and the website's launching. So it is a great time. Come check out the Optimus Fantasy crew over there. I'll be doing a little writing over there. I'll be making some appearances on air. But a lot of it is going to be me handling the social media aspect, putting out some good questions, some good memes for you all, trying to entertain you in that aspect. So, yeah, that's just what I'm doing right now.
Love it. And we'll dive a little bit more into Optimus as we get further along here. But let's rewind back to when, the beginning. When did you discover a passion for sports? And like, where did you grow up? And who are your favorite teams and players across the sports landscape as a kid?
Oh, man. So I'm from Wisconsin. And so I'm not a Packer fan. My mom is a Packers owner. So I've had the luxury of going to many, many Packer games and sitting in those seats many, many times. But I'm a 49ers fan, ironically. But I'm a Badgers fan, and I am a Brewers fan. So I got some Wisconsin homage there, But loving sports for me really came down to once a year. My dad, he would host a Super Bowl party for me. He'd let me have a Super Bowl party and have friends over, and we'd play Madden leading up until this actual Super Bowl. And man, I'll be honest, I'd always get like second or third. I never could really walk away with the trophy, but just like everyone coming together, and that just like kind of created a memory for me of like the Super Bowl being like the best day of the year, and later on, when I found fantasy football and whatnot, it just kind of really brought it all home.
I love that. Now I got to know, how did obviously you should have been a Packers fan at some, starting out. How did that not happen, and why did you choose the Niners?
Well, it's kind of been like a household thing. Like, my dad is a Chiefs fan, lifelong Chiefs fan. He's from Indiana. Why he picked the Chiefs, who knows? I mean, maybe it was before the Colts got there too. So that's probably why he picked Kansas City. But my mom was a big Packers fan, and even on their wedding cake, it was half Chiefs, half Packers. So it's like, I was always that kid during like family pictures where it was like everyone's wearing Packers gear. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wear Chiefs stuff because I'm with dad, just to be the black sheep of the family. And I became a 49ers fan around like the Alex Smith days, because it was kind of just like players for me, which is like how a lot of people are now. And I'm like, oh, I loved Adrian Peterson at the time, and I loved this person and LaDainian Tomlinson and all these running backs around the league. Tony Gonzalez for the Chiefs at the time. And Alex Smith for the Chiefs really just kind of, I loved the history of the Niners and whatnot. I know you're a Seahawks fan, so I won't talk too much about the history of the Niners,
okay.
But
that's okay.
But I really kind of fell in love with the team there. And then the whole Kaepernick Super Bowl happened and whatnot. And that's when I was like, all right, I'm locked in. I'm a Niners fan. And my dad told me, he's like, if I buy you a jersey, like, you can't be buying, I'm not going to be buying you all these like random teams, whatnot. So once you're a 49ers fan, you're a 49ers fan. I'm like, I'm in. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Well, that had to have been a tough time to choose the Niners because the Seahawks pretty much destroyed that version of the franchise, didn't they? I mean, Harbaugh out, Kaepernick gone, like, Bowman and Willis. What a great defense! But the LOB and the Seahawks really just like kind of flattened that team at that time. But you must have hated the Seahawks.
Ironic. I'll talk about the Seahawks, but ironically, the worst thing about that time for me was when Chris Borland got drafted and retired. I respect the decision 100%, but as a Badgers fan and a 49ers fan, I'm like, he's going to be the middle linebacker we need with like Patrick Willis retiring and then that whole defense depleted and he retired. And I'm like, well, that was fun. But I'm like being a Badgers fan too. I can say it now that he's gone and Russ is gone, but it was one of those things that like I always wanted to root for Russ as a Badgers fan because he's arguably the best Badgers quarterback we've ever had. I mean, that's why I hate watching draft day. It's like we are never going to have a top-notch quarterback, so don't even tease me with it. Like, so I think I kind of rooted for Russ a little bit during that time, but it was hard for a while. And then eventually, 2017 we got back, or 2018 we got back. Was it 2019? Yeah, sorry. Getting the years mixed up here, folks. 2019 we got back, and then it seems like recently we've been balancing it out. I mean, the Niners are due for a Super Bowl every 10 years or so, it feels like. So
For sure. And it's an incredible team they got going right now. I do make fun of that. The Seahawks obviously kind of put an end to that team. But the reason why is because like during that time when the Seahawks and the LB were kind of, growing up, the Niners were the scariest team in the world. And that rivalry, some of the matchups that they had were, I mean, as good as it gets in football. And like, there was no team that I don't think I've ever feared as a sports fan, for my team than that 49er team. Because, I mean, that defense was insane. Obviously, Frank Gore was incredible. Such a solid team. And obviously, Harbaugh is a pretty darn good coach. So definitely scared. Tons of respect for that team. But I'm glad it worked out the way it did because that Seahawks team was pretty special. And obviously we kind of fell on our face too with not getting that second Super Bowl and then having, some years where we did not get to where we thought we were going to get. But hopefully there'll be another time for me as a Seahawks fan to kind of get excited again. It's a new era. But again, with your Niners in the division right now, it's pretty scary for us right now for sure. Actually, expectations just aren't that high because I think there's one team in this division that's looking the best, and that's the Niners.
Well, it's kind of weird for me to say this as a Niners fan, but for me, I've told my dad this because now he's beaten me in 2 Super Bowls recently as a Chiefs fan. So I'm like, I can't get excited for them to go to the Super Bowl until they do it, until they actually win. Like I've gotten teased so many times now. So now I'm looking at other teams like, all right, who can I at least be excited for their turnaround right now? And the Seahawks, like I've been hyping up the Seahawks and Ryan Grubb's offense. So I'm glad I'm here because like I know that we're going to talk a lot at the Expo about Ryan Grubb's offense and what JSN can do in this offense for sure. So
I love it. That's awesome. So as a sports fan, what is the biggest loss you ever experienced?
Oh man. I mean, I talked up the Niners going to the 2019 Super Bowl so much. I saw something in that defense early on in the season. I'm like, if this team stays healthy, they're going to the Super Bowl. And I said that week 4. And like, that was like right when I was first starting to make content and whatnot. And then like closer and closer it got, people were really starting to rally against me, but I'm like, we're going to own it. We're going to win it. I've been calling this since you got to stay loyal. And then I remember packing up my stuff like third quarter, just getting all the to go Tupperware and everything and put all the food away, just getting really excited. And that drive home was absolutely miserable because I wasn't just thinking like we just lost the Super Bowl. This is the first time I have to address my fans that I was wrong. And I was like so cocky about it too. So I've learned my lesson from that. You can't be too confident in those things, but always root for your team. But that was probably one of the hardest losses for sure.
That makes sense.
That Super Bowl.
Oh, for sure. And obviously a game where you had it in control, most of the game until it kind of flipped on you. I can see why that would hurt. What's your all-time favorite moment as a sports fan, though?
Oh man, I guess recently, it's not even like a football one. That's probably not very good to talk about a football show, but recently I would say the Bucks championship win. I feel like that was like the first time like I've actually, because I'm like from southern Wisconsin, so you felt the energy down here like when they won that, or even like being in Wisconsin when the Packers won in 2010. Like you could just feel everyone's excitement, and like even if you're not a fan of that team, it was like everyone was just like so happy for 2 weeks. That's for sure. So once the 49ers get me over the top, I'll be a little more happy. But right now I'm pretty bitter. Still. We just lost. So
that happens. But no, I can see a franchise like the Bucks who just obviously did not have much success for decades. Like it's probably pretty cool to experience something like that. And that is true with sports. I mean, I think the way that it takes over a community and the energy in the city and the surrounding area, like there's nothing like it. So that's I can see why that would be pretty special. So when along the line did you discover fantasy sports, and how did that come about?
Well, I got to bring it back all the way to like middle school, and Mr. Utri, shout out to Mr. Utri. He was my 8th grade social studies teacher, and he started fantasy football club when I like just joined the middle school, and I wasn't very good. I wasn't very good as a 6th grader. I'll say that. 7th grade, I won the whole thing, and I remember in that league, I was like so confident about Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson. And I remember drafting them both pretty early on, and like being from Wisconsin, trying to beat out all these Packer fans on Aaron Rodgers. I had the 101, so I was like, screw it, I'll just take Aaron. Aaron Rodgers is not the greatest 101 quarterback in his career. I will say that. But I ended up winning it, I remember, because someone had a stacked team and they had bye issues. And they ended up dropping Maurice Jones-Drew. And that was, of course, the week before he went for like 44 points. And that was like definitely what helped me secure the playoffs, go to the championship, win the whole thing. So I've been playing fantasy for a while now. Have I been good at fantasy for a while now? No, but recently I've gotten a lot better for sure.
I love it. That's part of the deal. Like you always got to come back for more because you get a little bit of success and it gets infectious for sure. What was it that you loved most about the game? Was it the numbers? Was it the experience with league mates?
For football or for fantasy football?
Just for fantasy. Yeah, like early on when you realized I like this game. What was it?
I'll be honest. I liked hearing my name being called over the morning announcements. Like this guy was the best. All right, and early on, that's what it was. But later on, like once I just like really like fell in love with football, and it really kind of helped me teach me more about football with fantasy football and like how to look at the game in certain ways, and like even learning like defensive schemes. Like I was a quarterback, so like I stopped playing quarterback, or I stopped playing football early on in high school, but I was a quarterback, so like knowing every position on the field was very important. Like you had to know what everyone was going to do so you could execute your play. And that's just kind of like how my brain's wired. Like you just want to like, if there's information to be found, I want to find it. That's just kind of how I'm at.
I love it. Now, do you have a primary league, like one league that you consider your most important, or like a main home league?
I have a few leagues. I used to have a home league, but I've excommunicated myself just because it has been the trades just got to a certain point where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And they knew that I was, I had a good amount of research and good amount of friends in the industry. So I knew good information at the time. So they were like, any player that Hoov wanted, it's like, all right, that player's about to go off. We can't trade him. Absolutely not. What about Samaje Perine for Josh Allen? It's like, all right, you got to chill, dude. Chill. So, but I set up that dynasty league absolutely stacked. So I can't blame them for not wanting to give me any more. So they're having fun though. They're having a great time. I hear from time to time on trades and how to better the league, because I work with Sleeper a lot more than they do, so I'll always give them a few tips on how to work with it and whatnot. So
I love that. That's great. So over the years playing the game, have you had fun traditions in leagues? Like last place punishments or trophies or anything fun? Just kind of make a league more engaged.
well, my friend Kelly Singh is not gonna like me not promoting Trophy Smack, so I will promote Trophy Smack. But I did for one league. I created my own trophy. So like that Madden tournament I was telling you about that we did every year, it had a big football on the top and it had a base. And so like it fell off a shelf one day and the football cracked. And I had this base. I'm like, well, like I loved it. Like this was so memorable to me. Like I don't want to throw it away. I'm not gonna be a hoarder. What can I do with this? And so I like decorated it, made it like this like prize box, put like a figurine, NFL figurine. I forget who it was on the top. And then I put like the cards, like football cards on the side for like who was on their starting lineup. It was like
Nice.
Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown and CMC, and like just decorated this wooden box and made it personable. And that was probably like one of the coolest things. I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna do it and see what it looks like. And if it doesn't look good, we can always order one. But it turned out great, and I believe they still use it today.
I think that is phenomenal. It's funny. It reminds me of we have a last place trophy in our home league, and it's exactly that. And then a little bit of bells and whistles for sure. I found some old trophies that I had, and I got this big pillar thing, and I put the trophy on top of it, glued it all together. My daughter and I, she was quite young at the time. We painted it all these different bright colors, and there were some players that were kind of associated with some of the first losing teams in our league. So it was like Tebow and Kaepernick and Johnny Manziel and maybe a couple others that we put on the trophy. So it's this 6 foot tall, just obnoxious trophy, brightest colors on the planet, and that is our last place trophy punishment. They get that trophy to kind of stick in their living room for the year, and
Awesome.
so I think it's a great lesson. Is that being creative and fun with a prize, whether it's your main trophy or some type of punishment trophy. Lots you can do to make the league more fun, and that's a great example. I love to hear that.
Yeah, man, that was a fun passion piece. I mean, like I've just always been like kind of like an artist at heart. I used to have this as my bio. It's like I'm not an analyst, I'm an artist, and that's just what I do. Like even when I write, I'm not a stats guy. Like I love football. I will break down football. I'm not gonna tell you by the numbers. I'm gonna tell you by like just football. As someone that's played it and watched it and just dissected it in a certain way. I'm not saying stats are bad. I'm just saying like it's an eye test thing for me, as an artist, and just like how I can see things like playing out, whatnot. So like I've always just been more of an artist, and even like I remember my first article with Bijan Robinson for IBT. I wrote that one, and it ended up coming true. He ended up going 8th overall to the Falcons, and I was before that. I was like plus 700, I want to say, and I wrote about it. That was my first article I ever wrote, and it hit. And so I ended up like doing like splash colors on this like billboard, like red and white and black, and it was like a black board. And I ended up printing it out, and I have it on like this like frame that I have somewhere around here. I think it's in storage now, but yeah, it's one of those things. Like if I'm just an artist at heart, like let's just decorate. So
I love it. Your creativity is clear in everything you do. So I think that's awesome. So in playing fantasy over the years, is there one person, whether it's an industry league or one of those old home leagues, one person that you consider like your all-time rival?
Steffi Smalls, 100%.
Okay.
She is the in Rachel Tootsie Pop's Crushing It League every year. That is the hardest league. It's not just Steph. It's mainly Steph. Because like we target each other. Like I'll go after your people, you go after my people. And like I still feel bitter about the Alex Pierce snipe that she did to me. Like I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, but it was just, she is the worst. She's great at what she does, but man, why do you gotta come at me like that? I'm glad that we're both seeing eye to eye, but man, that's the worst person to draft with. Britt Flynn's in that league. There's so many talented people in that league. I wish I could give them all credit.
I love it. I can see Steffi being pretty mean on the streets when it comes to trash talk too. Just having
Yeah,
fun with it, right? She's definitely
Kira's in that league too.
yeah, okay, okay. I love that. It's awesome. Uh, any favorite settings, formats for you specifically?
I've just become a dynasty guy. I really have. I play in my work league. I clean windows for a living, 9 to 5, and do this on the side as well. So I play in that one. That's probably my most payout, my biggest payout league. It's a redraft. It's a smaller league, so I kind of have to crunch everything and be like, all right, I can't go after some of these deep dive sleepers. I really have to hone in on who I think are going to finish as top 10 people. So I think that's a 10 team or 8 team. I can't remember. It's smaller than normal, but that one's fun for a redraft. And then I've just been doing a lot of dynasty. Even the Optimus Twitter page, we've been doing some best ball leagues that it's like no trades, no waivers, just draft right now. I want to see where I'm at in the off season. Like we all see all these like crappy articles that come out that are trying to steer off the people off of like getting what's actually like coming out of camps. And I want to see like, was I more on in June? And then once all this news came out, I was like, oh, maybe I'm second guessing myself and changed my whole strategy. Like, are there certain months I'm better at it than others? So those have been really fun too. I'll have to say, but Dynasty thick and through, I've just become a guy.
Yeah, Dynasty is pretty special for sure. Obviously, there's tons of great settings and formats in football. I think to me, it really comes down to like who you're playing with, and leagues can be special no matter what the format is. But it is fun to have kind of certain things that you specialize in, or certain things that make you tick when it comes to playing the game. So rolling back a little bit before you entered the fantasy space, what was your background with video editing, social media, and content creation, prior to getting involved?
Well, like I said, I'm still a baby at this, so I have a long way to go with video editing and photo editing, and it's really just been like kind of I have the Kobe mentality in a sense, like where if I want to do something, I'm just gonna go out and learn it. And even like my girlfriend Heidi, like this weekend we were with her family, and she's Spanish, so just like going out and like learning how to speak Spanish or understand Spanish. I'm not the greatest speaker at this time, but I understand it pretty well at this point. And just like having that mentality and going out and learning how to do stuff. So when I first started like doing content, I'll be real with the audience, is like I kind of just need an outlet in life. And some people, when they see like the happy-go-lucky guy like Hoov, they couldn't imagine like there's that they could ever be sad at a certain point in their life. And I was. And so I really needed an outlet. And like I just was like, all right, I have all these talents. Why not utilize them? Like, why not make videos and stuff? And so I started a YouTube channel, and it was okay. It was just a lot of grind. And when you're trying to get past mental health and whatnot and grinding, it's a balance, and so it ended up I had an app called SportsMe reach out to me, and I ended up going over there and doing content and meeting some people that are now on fantasy Twitter, and they've kind of brought me in over there. But it's really just been like the video editing, the photo editing. It's been, even at the start when I just wanted to make content, I didn't want to put out bad content. Like if I had a vision, how I am as an artist, if I see something, I want it to be perfect. And I will go out of my way to make sure that I can learn that, and I can do that, and I can do it in a way that's like easy for me as well. So my system's not the greatest. It does work though.
I love it. So when it comes to just diving right into fantasy, what was it that inspired you to dive into fantasy sports, and who was it that you kind of connected with when you or I guess no, let me rephrase that question. When did you start creating fantasy football content?
Pretty much right. I feel like I kind of navigated more towards fantasy sports when I came onto Twitter, and I have to give a lot of credit to Joey Wright and Rum Boys Robbie, because those were two people that I was on the app with, and they kind of pulled me under their wing and were like, "Hey, you need to come onto Twitter. This is the place to be. This is a place that this is about community. They are going to embrace you so much. Like, you should come to the expo." And that's really what kind of started it for me. I believe I created my Twitter account in 2021, 20 or 21. I can't remember what year it was now, but like if you look back, I haven't been on Twitter a long time. It just really I found the right people and I've connected with the right people and just going to the expo. So if you're looking to make connections in the industry, the expo is the perfect place. Like look at someone like me that when I went to my first expo, I knew maybe 10 people and I wore a pair of sunglasses and look at me now,
I love it. That's fantastic. So 2021. So you're kind of part of that COVID creator time, right? Where you kind of came
Right.
in into the industry at the same time. A lot of people did it at the same time. What sites have you contributed to up until now?
Yeah, so I went to the expo 2 years ago for the first time, and that's when I met the IBT crew. And I was hanging out with Seth and Ariel and Nate, and that's like when I met Nate. And Nate was one of those people that was on the app, but I didn't know him very well. And I really just kind of hit it off with them that weekend. And you just kind of find your group, and you're just jumping into cars with these people and going all over, and you just hang out with them so much that later on when it was like December when Seth and Nate reached back out to me and they're like, hey, you want to come on? Like we have an opportunity for video editing. And I was like, well, I got some experience. I could show you what I got. Let me see like if it works out. And they loved what I could do. So they brought me on to edit their videos. And I was doing that for a while until we expanded, and yeah, that's kind of like what just like started. I've recently left IBT, but I know that they're going to be doing great things. That they're going to sell out draft night out, and because that team is absolutely special. And I was a very minimal part on the success on what that team was doing. I can promise you that. So I'm now with Club Fantasy and Optimus, but I'm still a baby in the industry. This is my second and third company, but very recently, I joined Club Fantasy right after the draft. So it's a lot of change, but change is good. Change is good.
Yeah, it's exciting. It is exciting. You've had some opportunity. You hit the draft, right? Did you do some media stuff there, right?
Absolutely. That was just an eye-changing event. I mean, to go to a draft for me, and not only go to a draft, but to go to a draft of this kind, with this many talented prospects, and to not like, the most important part too is I've always loved, ever since the first expo that I went to, the Women of Fantasy Football crew definitely were one of those 10 people that brought me into that weekend and were like, hey, we love you. Like, we are going to embrace you in this community. So the fact that I could go a part of them in Club Fantasy, it was just like a full circle moment. I love being able to be there for Women of Fantasy and empower their brand and help get their name out as well. So that was probably like one of the biggest takeaways for the weekend, was just like, it's so cool being able to see things come full circle, and do that and do a cool opportunity, but do it for people that you like, genuinely like, you love what they're about.
I love that. Yeah, Club Fantasy doing amazing things. Women of Fantasy Football. What an incredible movement. And gosh, the future is so bright. Everything that they're doing. There's so much momentum moving forward. So it's exciting to see that, and it's awesome that you're part of being an ambassador for them. It's phenomenal. Now, when it comes to Optimus, though, again, you mentioned earlier, it's brand new brand, a lot of people coming together. What is the long-term vision for Optimus, and how excited are you to be part of that?
I can't even just put into words like how excited I am, just because I've seen the hard work that Nate and Jen and Herms and like everyone on that team, Eric. I wish I could name them all right off the top of my head, but the hard work that they've put into this industry these last few years that I've gotten to see myself, I know where their minds are at and what they're capable of. And so I've seen the tools that they're working on and what they're bringing to the website. And I'm like, this is going to help so many people, if people can buy into this, and we can help the community, and even like with me being on the social media aspect of it, I told him, I'm like, I really want to be a part of something that focuses on community, and not just like the fantasy community where it's the fans. Like, there's a lot of people that they focus on the fans, and that's great because the fans are what, puts keeps the lights on, but a lot of it is I feel like people forget about the community aspect, and like we get together at these expos and get together at these events, and then we forget about each other from time to time, and we forget to uplift each other. And when there's so many people in the space that they're looking for opportunities to get paid for their hard work, like we realize that there's not as great of a demand to get every person that makes content paid for like what they're worth, so the more that we uplift the community, the greater the content, like the greater the community gets, and the greater the community gets, the more inspired they are to make better content, and the better content there is, the more eyes are on the product, and the more eyes are on the product, the more people are getting paid. So like, I really was like, if we're going to make this about community, let's help the people, let's help everyone, not just the fans. Let's help the people. Let's promote people's work. Let's get people from all walks of content working with each other. And I feel like Optimus, with like their podathon that they did, we've gotten so many people on there. We've worked with so many people so far, and like, we are just getting started. It's so weird. Like we've only been at it for a month. Like, I feel like we've been at this for like 6 months, but that's probably how much time that Nate and Jen have just been like working on this, and probably had ideas about it even before them. So
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's great to see. I love everything that's coming from that. I love, I love sharing, new brands and resources with fantasy consumers, and something like this is just an awesome project that the future is very bright. I love to see it. And I love that you're involved with them, because I think it's just a perfect fit. What has been the biggest, challenge for you along the way, the last couple years in this space?
For me, it's been imposter syndrome, I'll be honest. And it's always been, for me, like, I've never wanted to take away opportunity from people, because I knew that there's like some people that they really wanted this. They, like, I told you, like, I started making content because I wanted an outlet for people in my life, and just to make something, and to entertain people, because I love entertaining people. And so I never wanted to take away from someone that was like going to school, that really wanted to change their life, like financially, that needed an opportunity. So I never wanted to like dive in, and take jobs and join teams and stuff like that for the longest time. And so like recently, like realizing that there are people in the community that look at me in a sense like he's not afraid to be himself. I've kind of had to break off that imposter syndrome, just because I know that there's people that are looking at me like, hey, if Hoov can do it, I can do it, and I own that. So that's probably been the hardest thing for me. The draft has really kind of helped me come into my shoes. What's the term for it? I'm not sure, but you know what I mean by it. It's like come to my place with things, come to terms with things. That's probably it. And it's been weird. It's been so weird, but like it's also helped me want to just dive in even more this summer. Me and Jack Lucene, we have an ongoing joke about this is the summer of Hoov, because I've just been putting out so much content. Joey Wright's probably been beating me by how much content he's been putting out too. But yeah, I feel like I've been on like at least like 2 or 3 podcasts a week, or making content of some kind, written, whatever, So if you're looking for content, you can always find some at HoovTube on the Twitter page. So
that's absolutely true. It is the summer of Hoov. You're doing a ton of great work. It's so fun to see. Again, you got a unique personality and bring a lot of authenticity to the table, and people love that. And so I think that you've been embraced quite a bit by the industry, just because again, they recognize the hard work, but also again, a unique perspective on things. I think it's fantastic that you're doing what you're doing, and I definitely obviously wish you the best of luck moving forward. What's been the most rewarding part of this journey for you so far?
For me personally, I mean, me and Heidi were even recently just talking about, because I was explaining to her like what Fantasy Cares is all about, and like why I'm going to Madison next weekend and why I'm going to Chicago the weekend after that. And I'm like, trust me, it's for a good cause. I promise, babe. Like, it's for Christmas. So for the holiday season, my bad. And so I feel like that's just been like the biggest thing for me, is like I never really like cared about getting paid for jobs. Like I know there's people out there that want to get paid, and that's why I'm I want to inspire those people to make better content, to go out, be themselves and get paid, so that's kind of where I'm at. I never wanted to get paid for stuff, but just being able to have like a platform where I can promote things, that can get to a certain place, that that we can like connect someone to the Vikings, to get them tickets, after they were bullied in school, or to raise money if like $50 for editing a video for someone that they donated to Fantasy Cares for. It's like, to me, I know it sounds cliche and cringy, but it's really just at the bottom line for me, like, how can I like help other people? Because like in this life, it doesn't matter to me. It's the next life. Like that's all the gain that I can get, from doing good. So
I love it. That's wonderful. I love that. How much has this community meant to you? Obviously, you kind of expressed, discovering it and meeting some great people. But how much has it meant to you when it comes to just the connections you've made, personal, professional relationships that have formed?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, the community has been such a great thing for me, because I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for this community. And I will say that very blatantly. There's so many people that they open doors for me, and I have to give those people credit, because there's so many people that are afraid to open up doors for other people in this space because they want to feel like they're self-made. And I'm not self-made. I will never tell you I'm self-made. This is a team effort, and this community has empowered me to help me, and that's just like the best way I can get back to them, is empowering them. So the community for me, like just seeing how they can empower someone like that, just join them, and 3 or 2 years later, or a year later, they can be on the panel for draft night out, helping put together that event, or even the next year that they can be like on the stage for the Optimus team, so like there's just levels to this, and it's crazy that the community, when they believe in someone, that they believe in a cause like Scott Fishbowl, that you can just see how they rally around something and uplift it. And when the community's got you, they got you, So I can't say enough great things about this community. I wish that everyone was promoting this community. I wish that everyone promoted each other in this community, because we all deal with the same things at the end of the day. We're all chasing that high when we fell in love with sports, like we talked about earlier. So let's love each other,
Great message for sure. Now, you've gone to the expo a couple times. Was there a big difference going back, coming back a second year, and your experience with the expo there?
Absolutely. I mean, first year I was like so nervous. Like I wore sunglasses because I'm like, I wanna differentiate myself, and what's the best way to do that? And so I'm like, well, I'm always been stylish, so I might as well just like turn it up to 11, and do that. And then the next year I knew people, so I felt more comfortable, like going out of my shell a little bit more. And then this year I feel comfortable enough that like I'm not working draft night out, and I'll be like focusing on Optimus and stuff like that. So I figure this is a great time that I can bring my girlfriend Heidi, and she's going to be coming with me this year, and she's going to be meeting everyone, because I've been talking about you guys all so much. Like she wants to see what the community is like, because she's heard such great things coming from me as well. So yeah, just like every year you get a little more comfortable. You start realizing like where to go, like where to park, and you also remember that you need you time, and you can't just be out the whole entire time, unless you're wired different. Some people are, but you learn what you're comfortable with every year that you go, for sure.
For sure. What are your favorite memories from your expo experiences?
Oh, okay. This is a good one. So the first year, with Nate Povolt of Optimus, this is why we're friends, because we're just weirdos and we just joke about the most random stuff. So we were going to the Hall of Fame together, and we were walking in, and Nate was just like staring off at, I forget if it was a statue or what, it was something. And I just like walked up behind him, and I was like, "Wiener," and we just started busting out loud. It was just like the most random thing. And that's been such a staple of our friendship, of just like inside jokes like that. And I mean, it's so funny now that we like work together, just because of something like that. I'll text him every like 6 weeks or so, and I'll just be like, "Wiener," and like he'll respond. It's a whole thing. But that's probably like one of my favorite stories of being at the expo, and just meeting like getting real friendships out of it too. Like if you want to make friends, if you want to go there just to make connections, you can go there and make as many connections as possible. There's a lot of people there. But if you want to make friends, go out, trust yourself, and go out and make some cool friends, because there's a lot of cool people there.
That is for sure. And speaking of a lot of cool people, you just got off the SFB Podathon. I was on that as well. Like, talk to me about that experience. How much fun was it to participate in the Podathon this year?
I felt like the luckiest man in the world this weekend. I've gotten to watch my girlfriend's sister get married, and so I got to be around all that love. And then I got honored with the opportunity to go on Scott Fish and do that. Like, that's a bucket list thing to do, is to be able to go on that Podathon and promote your work and promote what you're doing, and also promote the cause, so that's such a bucket list thing for me. I was completely honored. And then I had to follow it up and come and be honored here as well, like, and check that off my bucket list as well. So this has just been an awesome weekend. I'm through the roof. I might not have as great of voices as possible doing all this in one weekend, but it's been an awesome weekend doing both of these things.
That's great. The SFB Podathon, for those that might not know, Scott Fish Bowl, right? This massive community fantasy football league. You got 4,000 people, I believe, this year participating in the Podathon. Really kicks off, all the live and online drafts that are underway. And it's just such a fun event that raises so much money for charity, such a great mission. So if you don't know about it, check out scottfishbowl.com. Check out Fantasy Cares. It's a charity that's just raising so much money for great causes all over. I can't recommend it highly enough. So, obviously coming off of that great weekend for sure, and looking forward to the season ahead and then the years ahead. What are your biggest goals when it comes to what you want to do in this space?
Man, it's so weird, because like when I started, or I even thought about making content and making football content and joining this community, it's like everything that I have 5-10 years down the road is a bucket list item. They just keep getting checked off. And I'm like, this is so weird. Like, there's so many people that have put in so much work and time and effort, and like those people deserve all the credit in the world. So why am I checking off all these things so early on? So to me, I'm a sponge. Whatever people want to throw at me, I will absorb that information, and wherever I end up, that is just a great opportunity. Like, I haven't gone to the Senior Bowl yet. I haven't gone to the Combine yet. I haven't gone to the Super Bowl and done media week there. There's so many things I haven't done yet. And I'm just like, it's so weird that they seem obtainable at this point, but it's exciting. It's exciting, to say the least. And I'm very, very appreciative of everyone that's put me in this place.
I love that. Let's dive into some rapid fire questions. Just throw out some questions. First things that come to mind, let us know. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing in the industry right now?
Giving back. I'm entertaining people. That's simple. I mean, just a lot of people, they want to be told that they're the first, in something, that they were the first person to post it or have the first take, but it's whoever's more famous is going to get the credit for that. I've always been like, how can I actually help my followers? So giving back in that sense has always been the greatest.
That's great. Now, what inspires your unique style and fashion sense?
WWE and rock stars and stuff like that. People like Elton John, Freddie Mercury, Prince, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Shawn Michaels, even people like Dusty Rhodes that can just go out and just hit a microphone and entertain everyone. People like that.
And is that just, that goes way back to your childhood?
Oh man, I've just always been like, I haven't been afraid to be the center of attention, and whether that meant like just dressing differently or what, like I've always just kind of owned that. And that's kind of one thing, that be who you are, but like be entertaining too. Like be who you are and be comfortable enough with yourself to tune that up to 11. That's what I could recommend to people. Like, am I this fashionable all the time? Absolutely not. I go to Walmart and I look like a bum. So I don't look like this all the time. But, like, if you're a fashionable person, go turn that to 11, and I got a lot of 11s ready to go for the expo. Let me tell you.
I believe it. You have fun, right? I mean, essentially,
That's
it comes
right.
down to just having fun, not taking yourself too seriously, and just having a good time. I love that. Take it to 11. That's the motto. When it comes to the expo, is there anyone that you just are really looking forward to meet this year?
I've met a lot of people, and I I always like say like, oh, I want to meet this person, and then I end up like they don't end up going or something. So the best way to answer this is to any person that sees me at the expo and you're listening to this and you're looking for a reason to keep making content, that's the person I want to meet at the expo, because I've met a lot of people there, with certain brands and whatnot. I know them all. I want to know the people that need a reason to keep going.
That's great. It's a great answer. Now, when it comes to again attending the expo, is there anyone out there that you're concerned about outdoing your level of swag?
There's no one. There's nobody.
No,
I,
no
I
one
can
strikes
give
any fear.
I'll give flowers to people. I mean, like LQ. He's great. He's got fire shirts. He doesn't do the whole thing. He doesn't own it. He doesn't walk. He doesn't have that Conor McGregor talk. But he's got flair. And I got to give LQ because he's the godfather. He's the one that inspired me to want to do it in the first place with loud shirts. So he's the godfather. He's the OG, but someone else has the crown, baby. How you doing? All right.
I love that. No, that's a great answer as
Joey's
well.
great too.
Joey brought it last year, and I guarantee he's bringing something special this year.
Yeah.
I will say when I talked to Andy Behrens about this, and he actually he said that I was the one that started it all. And I'm not gonna lie. When I went to that first expo that I attended, 2021, I brought in a custom like Hawaiian shirt with my because basically it came down to like the conversation of like when we get to the expo, no one's gonna know, we need name tags. And so I put my face on my shirt, put my Twitter handle all over it, and I brought that in 2021. So from Andy's perspective, it's like, that was the inspiration that really kicked it off. So I say LQ, I think that's his nature forever. And so I definitely say he's the guy on that front. But there are some people that say that I kind of helped bring that fun to the expo too. So I'm not.
Linda had that Jay Cutler one too. So
yes.
there's so there's so many people.
Yeah.
Not many people though will wear fur in August like your boy Hoov though, because I'm committed. I'm committed. Everyone will wear Hawaiian shirts to be fashionable. I will sweat to be the best.
Yes, no, there is no doubt. I'd set you up with that question because you are the GOAT at this time for sure. I mean, you had some like glasses that had like danglies on or something. I mean, they're lit up or something. It was some goods and fur. You're right. I mean, just taking it to the nether level and then 5 levels above that. That's what you do, and that's what people have come to expect. So can't wait to see what you pull off this year.
I've got so much. I'm so excited. I don't even want to tell the viewers how long I've been excited for Canton, because that's like truly how exciting Canton can be. Is like I've been packed since March. I've already had everything bought, packed, ready to go. It's in my storage unit right now, and all I have to do is pick that thing up and we're going to Canton, baby. So I got a lot of great clothes, and I'm so excited for that weekend, for that being one of the many reasons.
Awesome. And one other shout out would be Gary Davenport, the IDP master. I mean, he comes on that last day just fully decked out like the Godfather. That's pretty impressive what he does as well. Now, if you could describe John McGlynn to a random stranger, how would you do so?
John McGlynn is okay. If it's kind of funny, his name's John too, because like I think of him as like a human incarnation of a bear. Like if you could mix John Goodman and John Candy into one person, that's John McGlynn. Like I gave him a ride, and I drive a Ford Fiesta. I drive a tiny little baby car, and getting John into that car was not the easiest thing, because he's a beast. I mean, he's a huge guy, not chunky, but muscular as hell. He's like a bear squeezing into that car, and it was quite the scene. It was like clown car watching him crawl out there, and we were in Detroit.
I love that. And you're right. Big teddy bear, like one of the best people in this space. Such a good person. authentic to the core. Just John McGlynn. He is who he is, and
That's
he
right.
he's pretty special.
Pick it through.
What are your favorite hobbies and activities outside of sports?
I'm a movie guy. I mean, I've talked about this on many podcasts. I'm such a big Marvel nerd, as you can see, and wrestling fan, as you can see. That's pretty much a lot of my hobbies. I love watching wrestling. I watch AEW. I watch WWE. I try to expand in like to NJPW and stuff, but I just don't feel like paying for subscriptions and whatnot. But a lot of it is like I love even picking up movie theater popcorn and taking it home and not even seeing anything right away and just going to watch what's new on HBO Max or like binge watching the Avatar series and stuff like that. So I'm a big movie guy. I love trying to stay up to date with movies. I'm not like Joey Wright by any means. He hates, the MCU, but that's like where I thrive. Like I could watch X-Men 97 for days on end and just keep watching and keep watching and keep watching. So big Marvel fan, big superhero fan. You'll always see me on Thursday nights, opening night for those events. So that's my biggest hobbies.
What is your favorite movie of all time?
Matthew Berry cameo, Avengers Infinity War, actually. I mean, how can you not be? Was it Infinity War or Endgame? He was in it.
Endgame.
Was it Endgame? Yeah, Endgame has to be the best then for sure, just because it's Matt. But yeah, that was like, to me, the peak of everything in my life at the time, because even before Disney Plus was a thing, like I remember being like, oh, Mom, like I really want to just like go and rent like all the Avengers movies so I can watch them all in order and then I'll be ready. And oh man, like, and now everyone just has it at like the end of their fingers, just turn on Disney Plus and have them all ready to go. So that was the peak of my life at the time, was like being able to go see that.
I love it. How about a favorite sports movie?
Sports movie. Well, to me, it probably is Cool Runnings, just because like I loved Cool Runnings as a kid, or even Snow Dogs. I loved Disney Snow Dogs. But my dad was a Notre Dame fan. He grew up in Goshen, Indiana, right by South Bend. So he was at Rudy. He was at the game when they filmed Rudy. So I feel like it kind of has moved its way. Like probably should be the number one just because my dad was at the game. So how can I say any other movie than Rudy?
That's pretty good. How about an all-time favorite TV show?
New Girl, easy. I love New Girl so much. Are you a fan of New Girl?
It's a good show for sure.
Yes, some days I feel like Schmidt
it through again, right? Especially like when you watch it again, it's like, wow, that's even better than I thought it was.
Absolutely. I mean, some days I feel like Schmidt, some days I feel like Nick, some days I feel like Winston. So some days I feel like Bear Claw, honestly. So there's so many, like, that's one of those shows that I don't think that there's like a bad main character. Every character is so funny in that show. Like, greatest of all time, New Girl.
It's a good answer. Yeah, very underrated. As good as it is, and as well received as it was, it's a great one. Who's your favorite artist, band, musician of all time?
Oh, man, that's really tough. Just because I'll keep it on brand, I'll say I don't think that there's anyone that's ever inspired me more than Freddie Mercury or even Elton John. I mean, geez, like Prince. Like, that's why I'm an old head. I really am. I'm an old soul, thick and through. Like, I listen to now music, but I really am like an old soul. My dad was a DJ, so I listened to old music, and I even like Michael Jackson. Like, I was a big Michael Jackson fan for years and whatnot. So that's probably where you see a lot of like flamboyantness, and you see a lot of like entertainment, because I was MJ fan, a Prince fan, an Elton John fan, a Freddie Mercury fan. So people that just like took the stage and never gave it back.
Makes sense. Now, have you gone to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on one of these Canton trips?
I have gone to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Heidi and I are going back this year because she hasn't gone. So I went there when I went to New York back in high school. So I didn't get it like appreciated as much as I probably should have, being in high school. So I really want to go back and be able to take it all in, and
Nice.
I'll be able to be with her too. So it's going to be cool to see her experience all these things and show her the NFL Hall of Fame too. That's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's nice to hit those both of the same, same weekend. The first time when I went to the expo, had a couple buddies come with me, from home, and we did both, and it was tons of fun. Highly recommended for anybody that's going to the expo to check out if you're passing through Cleveland. Check out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Pretty special. Now, if you had to, sing some karaoke, like what would be your main song? What's your go-to?
I've had a whole playlist ready to go of like things I could do at Jose's Landing if I wanted to, or things I could do at the DoubleTree Hotel if I wanted to, because you got to feel out the crowd. Jose's is more like rocking. Like the hotel, it's more like let's sing some Lionel Richie. So to start it out, let's go like Lionel Richie at DoubleTree, Hello, and then let's do like I Love Rock and Roll at Jose's Landing.
I love it. Let's do it. 2024. I love it. What at this time, what are you most grateful for?
Just everyone that's brought me under their wing at this point. And there's a lot of people that probably could see the sunglasses, see the fashion and everything, and think, oh man, this guy just thinks the world of himself. But in reality, like I will be the first person to tell you that every person, you giving me this opportunity to come on this platform, or Scott giving me the opportunity to go on last night, like I'm very, very appreciative that you guys all believe in me enough to give me an opportunity to come on and share this space with you. So that's just been the biggest thing, is people that see something in me that they want they think that I can bring something to their platform to entertain their followers. So I'm very, very appreciative of all that.
I love that. Now, can you name just some of the people that have had the biggest impact on you during your journey here?
My Mount Rushmore so far. Let's just go off of that because there's so many. Joey Wright, Rum Boys Robbie, Nate Polvote, and Seth Wilcock. I gotta give credit to those four. They've helped me so much, and with my writing, whether that's pushing me to where I need to be at the time, giving me great advice. Those are four people that just have been great on my journey.
Yeah, people that are, that help a lot of people and put others first, for sure. It's a great list. Now, advice for people that want to, follow your footsteps and get more involved in the fantasy space and do more, because again, you do different things than just, analysis and, behind, in front of the camera. So a lot of people would like to get more involved, but they might not recognize unique things that they can do in the space. What do you recommend for people, or what kind of advice do you give for people that want to get more involved in the fantasy community?
One, you're always welcome, so it doesn't matter what you can provide. Just come hang, just come join us, because the more people that are in on this, that we got strength in numbers, so if you enjoy it, come on in, like there's always people that are looking to give people opportunities, and they want to see what you can do, whether you might not know that you're good at something until you try it. So just try it, and be willing to fail. That's one thing I will say. Like if you were perfect at everything, like where would you be? Like failure teaches you so much in life. So let the failure teach you along the way, because I've failed so many times before I finally started to figure out like where I need to be, who I need to connect with, and where I want to be. So, or how I want people to perceive me. And that's a big thing too. And like, so be willing to fail, and also take risks in who you are. Like be willing to go out and search within and find who you are, because it will show very through in your work. If you don't know who you are, and you're not speaking from the heart to your followers, they will see through that crap so fast. So be who you are, be real, and turn that shit up to 11.
There you go. Great advice for sure. Hoov, awesome having you on here. Is there anything you wanna share before we close things out here? Anything we didn't cover?
I think we knocked it all out of the park, man. There's enough about me. I'm not one to talk about me for over an hour for sure. So thank you once again for having me on. If you guys want to find more HoofTube content, you guys can go check me out at HoofTube on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, or to come check me out on Thursdays on Club Fantasy. Go ahead, check out the Club Fantasy site. I got some written articles coming at you that way, or come hang out with us on the Optimus X page as well, because you'll see a lot of content over there coming from me. I might not put my stamp on it, but I promise you a lot of the memes are coming from me. So that's really it. So thank you once again, Kevin, for having me. I really do appreciate it, man.
It was an absolute pleasure to have you on here. Thanks for coming on. It was tons of fun. I cannot wait to see what you have in store in 2024, and obviously, I cannot wait to see you at the expo and see what you have in store from there. Because obviously, we know you're going to bring it to 11. So can't wait to see you, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast. Until next time. Be sure to follow and subscribe to all of FFU's social media accounts for daily content.